to the Accommodation Show. I'm pumped today because I'm joined by Dean Libowitz from Selina. He is the Destination Director for ANZ. He's a really awesome chat. I had a chat with him the other day. We got along really well. Welcome to the show, Dean.
Hi, thanks, Bart. Very excited to be here.
Look, I'll be honest with you. Selina was not a brand that I was completely aware of. In Australia, you guys are relatively new, or maybe not as well known as you potentially should be. But ever since we had our chat, and ever since I've been learning about what you're doing, I've got really pumped and really excited. You guys are not a new business. You are very, very well established, and you're doing some really cool creative stuff. So it's a pleasure to have you on and for you to spend your time with us. So thanks a lot.
And that's definitely something I hear a lot of here in Australia in particular is, wow, I've never heard of Selina. But when you do hear about it, you're like, oh my God, that makes so much sense to me. This is so relevant for right now. And as you said, it should be more well known, and we will be. It's just a matter of time, really. And yes, we are very, very new here in a couple months.
And yeah, look, I encourage you, if you have not heard of the Selina brand, hang around and listen to what they've got to share and what they're actually doing. Because in my view, how long ago was Selina created?
It was founded in 2014, but yes. Only really started, and that was in Panama, in a very small little sleepy fishing village, but only really started their global expansion come 2016. And yes. Since then, from 2 properties in Panama to I think it's now 135 plus in over 20 countries, a $1.2 billion valuation listing on the New York Stock Exchange. So it's done a lot of work in a very short period of time. And I think a lot of people are kind of just getting sucked into it because it's I don't want to say it's addictive, it's not the right word, but it's very engaging and it's very relevant to the world we live in now.
Yeah. To me, it's a super lifestyle kind of brand. That you kind of align yourself ethically, morally, in terms of your beliefs and wants and all that. But let's not get too stuck into that just yet.
Okay.
The one thing that I did want to say is I feel that this business model of Selina's was way ahead of its time. Before everybody knew what was coming, and now because of the COVID and the pandemic, it's really kind of boomed. So you guys are in an unbelievable position. But before we go into it, would love you to introduce yourself. Tell us about what you do at Selina and what drives you in the hospitality space.
Okay, so hi, Dean here. I'm the Destination Director for Australia and New Zealand at Selina. What drives me is meaningful moments. I love traveling. I love, experiencing new cultures and new places, meeting new people, surfing, obviously. And being able to do that while incorporating my work into it, that's the whole package. And something that really gets me going. And to be able to deliver that lifestyle to people all around the world, that's everything to me. So
yeah, and I love that, and I love we've got a whole different gamut of different guests that come on, and they've got different motivations for being in this particular space. And for you, it's very clear that it's part of your heart that you kind of wear on your sleeve in terms of what you're actually doing, and creating those experiences, which is, I think the number one thing that most people get into this business for is because they want to do something for somebody else, right? I really enjoy this. I really love this. I'd like you to share it with me.
So yeah, the funny thing about that is, my work, I work like crazy. It's long weeks, long hours, and most of it is to deliver a lifestyle that I want, but for someone else to actually experience. Most of mine is spent behind the computer or on the phone or on location. So yes, definitely not doing this for myself anymore. This is for everyone.
Everybody else, yeah, that's right. It's a very giving industry for sure. What's a destination director? What does that role actually entail, and what does it mean?
Yeah, I think it's quite a unique role that I don't think I've heard or seen anywhere outside of Selina, and Selina definitely has a way of doing things their own way. Basically, the destinations director job is to create a destination in every neighborhood Selina goes to make Selina become a destination that people sort out. and look for and then really engage with. So that kind of covers brand, marketing, experience, design, all the way through the art and the workshop things that are happening in location, to the programming, all falls under my remit. And I've probably missed a few things. Partnerships, brand partnerships is a big part of the job. It's just creating really engaging spaces across quite a wide range of channels to do that.
Yeah. And so, look, I think this leads really well into a couple of topics that I think I'd like to cover today. And I'm going a little bit off script as well, so forgive me. But one thing that you said to me is, hey, Bart, I've been flat out. We've been setting up a new property in Brisbane. And with the role that you do, I think that kind of lends itself to two things. One is, how do we set up a new Selina property? Overall, how does that happen? What are the bits and pieces that you guys have to think about? And then I think if we start off with explaining what Selina is all about and then kind of leading into that new property setup, that might really create a super engaging show of how do you set up a Selina property.
Yeah.
And then it'll kind of answer all the other questions along the way. Does that sound like all
Yeah,
right for
I
you?
think that sounds good. So to kind of unpack that, to start, Selina is a network of platforms that provide accommodation, food and beverage, co-work, wellness, music, surf, really a holistic lifestyle designed for millennial and Gen Z travelers who want to work, travel indefinitely, abroad, from home, wherever it might be. We're creating that platform, and we're really doing it on scale. So developing that machine that can go in and create new Selinas is a big part of the global and the corporate kind of processes that we need to fine tune and really smoothen out to create this kind of machine that can just churn property after property. So the way it works is we've got a very quick conversion process. Basically, we identify kind of underutilized real estate assets in a variety of kind of climates and neighborhoods. So we've got, thinking about New York, London, Chicago, global cities, all the way through to, tiny remote islands in the Caribbean or in the depths of the Costa Rican jungles and everything in between. We can create a Selina experience there. And there is no one Selina that is, cookie cutter. You see the same thing. They're all very uniquely different. But there are common threads and there's a common experience and a common feeling that you get that if you're in New York or if you're in the Caribbean in Panama, the feeling is the same and you still feel like you're in a Selina. So the process is, very quick conversion. We generally look as we, enter into a new town, a new city or a new location. First things that we do is we build an experience board where we identify and locate, key members of that community, whether they're trendsetters, chefs, artists, DJs, people who really define that neighborhood and are proud of that area. And we build a board, an advisory board that kind of gives us all sorts of different advice and insights in order for us to approach this property. We then go into kind of the conversion process, which we like to do within 3 months from when we get keys, and it's incredibly quick and fast paced. But most of this is also built by local artists, upcycling, repurposing all sorts of materials to create beautiful, stunning design. It's obviously got to include, we've got accommodation offerings all the way from beautiful suites and lofts through to communal rooms that are, shared with bunk beds, but again, beautiful bunk beds, and everything in between. We have food and beverage concepts, always locally driven concepts with local providers, local suppliers, and again, a wide range from cafes through to bars, nightclubs, live music venues. Every Selina needs to have a co-working facility, and this is really where we roll into that digital nomad movement I believe we'll talk about in a little bit. On top of that, we've got wellness, surf in the appropriate locations, and wellness kind of includes yoga, breathwork, meditation, holistic eating, things like that. I'm listing off
Yeah. Yeah.
Other things, yeah.
No, no, okay, so look, I've got a million different questions. So I might do a few quick fire ones to sort of fill in some of the gaps for people
Sure.
through that story. So one of the questions I had was just the kind of target market that we're actually talking about. You said millennials and Gen Z,
I got that
Gen
right.
X.
Yeah, that's the
So
one.
what age ranges are we talking about, like roughly?
Look, it is quite diverse. I would say anywhere from the 20 mark to the 35. It's a big kind of chunk. It's 15 years, but we cater to and engage thousands of people in that age group. Younger, some people travel with their kids, rarer, but and older as well. We do find that we've got the 35 to 55-year-old definitely really enjoying our properties and our offering, and it gives them that spark of energy and youthfulness, but still has all of the amenities and the niceties that you would hope to find.
And yeah, so look, of course, we're trying to create a kind of a communal, holistic experience, and you've listed sort of some of the things you're trying to bring in from the local area and bring them onto your property. If I'm a guest of yours, why would I can completely understand the accommodation. I can understand the co-working space. So if I am a digital nomad, or if I do want to do some work, I've got some space to do that. And that's something, a trend which is developing more and more as we go forward. And like I said before, I think that's where you guys were kind of cutting edge before maybe it was appreciated by the rest of the market. But then, why would I want to have yoga there as well and have live music and all the rest, when I could probably go out and maybe I want to go out and explore and see what the local yoga scene is like? Where do you guys kind of fit into creating that package? And is there any benefit to coming to Selina, like in terms of pricing, having it all on site?
Look, we like to have everything on site. We like to make it as easy as possible for our guests. But with that said, we definitely would connect with the local yoga scene and really try to make sure that we facilitate, if you do have that need to expand and go beyond the Selina's kind of property walls. We make sure that happens. We make sure that you've got all of the right advice and the local knowledge to do so. In terms of pricing, we are very affordable. We're competitively priced with most hotels and definitely the hostels in the neighborhood. Was there anything else in that question to unpack? Why would you want to do it?
Yeah, so no, I also wanted to, maybe we can do it later on, but I know that there is a membership part of the pricing strategy as well, which is something that you can maybe indulge me. I don't know of many accommodation providers that have an effective membership scheme in terms of, and I'd love to kind of unpack that part if that's something you want to touch.
Yeah, for sure. So we've got two forms of membership. There's obviously our Luna memberships, which is as simple as downloading our app, which provides you free wellness on site, obviously the welcome drinks and all the communal activities that we offer. And then we've also got this co-live package that we're bringing, which is longer stay. So the people coming for months at a time basically would sign up to our co-live package, and we bundle up a holistic life for you in this co-live package that really makes it easy to go from Melbourne to Brisbane to Panama to Costa Rica to London and not have to worry about all of the headaches and kind of settling in time that normally comes with moving to a new city. We unpack that for you, we take it on, and we bring in local experts to help you make it as simple and easy as possible and engaging and meaningful.
So for that co-live package, am I paying a monthly fee? Is it on a consultation basis? How do you guys price that?
It's a monthly fee that you can look. I think there's 90% of the Selina properties are up to co-living kind of facilities, and so we don't send people to properties where we don't have that holistic lifestyle. We can't offer it under this package. It's a monthly thing. You can go months at a time. Yeah,
cool. And that's
so much to unpack with Selina.
There really is. I think that from my perspective and looking at what the industry is talking about and the challenges that we have and the what consumers are expecting and what their expectations are, I think that that's changing and moving very quickly, and it's really fascinating to talk to you and to a company that's managing to unpack some of these key things or these key drivers that guests have, and to kind of get it right and say, hey, we know our market, we really do understand it, and we can offer these products that actually make financial sense to them, but also make business sense to us. So I really love it.
Yeah.
I think it's great. So yeah, that's those kind of questions. So now let's unpack Brisbane a little bit more. So can you tell me more about that project and kind of what that specifically looks like?
Yeah, so we are launching next week, which I don't know if that'll be appropriate at the time of the
Sure.
airing of the show. So it's the 22nd of April is when we have our soft launch. It's in the city in Brisbane on George Street, right by the river there and right by Roma Street Station. And it's a beautiful old building. We've done an amazing kind of conversion to, I believe it's about 100 or so plus beds. I think 120 beds. Again, please don't quote me on that, even though I'm speaking live on a recording. So, yeah, I need to confirm that number. And again, it's a full holistic Selina offering. We've got an amazing bar, a cafe, and a bar opening. A beautiful wellness space out the back where we're going to host yoga classes. We've also got some going to be done in the Roma Street Park across the road. A wide range of rooms. Our suites there are amazing. All of the communal rooms have their own private bathrooms. What else is going on in that Brisbane property? A lot. It's so hard for me to just pull things off the top of my tongue.
So look, on that. So one of the things that really struck me when you started talking about this, it took me back, unfortunately, over around about 15 years ago now, to going out and backpacking. I remember going to some backpackers in Thailand, and I remember them actually making some really big inroads in the same direction that Selina has gone, in terms of really understanding that backpackers doesn't have to be super budget. You can have better beds, you can have better shower facilities and bathroom facilities, and you can have better communal facilities. You can see that kind of whole marketplace developing and moving forward. Let's go on.
I think it's a common misconception that backpackers are all looking for budget accommodation. Yes, that is a big driver, but really their inclination to go overseas or to backpack in the first place isn't financially or commercially driven. They're looking for experiences, they're looking for connections, they're looking to engage with one another, with the cultures, with the local communities. So to focus and experience all on being economy is leaving out a huge part of what their actual expectations are or their desires are. And so therefore, why not put a much bigger emphasis and a focus on the quality of the experiences you're providing in that space? Selina's backpackers make up a portion of Selina's market, but definitely not the entire market. And I would say it's a small portion, if anything. More of the elevated traveler or the long-term traveler now shouldn't necessarily be associated with budget accommodation. A lot of them are working full-time and don't pay rent and don't have a mortgage and don't have kids and don't have a lot of the the weight of expenses that I would have here living in Sydney in Bondi in an apartment. And ultimately can spend more on these kind of experiences.
Yeah, and that's where I think it's incredible, because I think that over the past 6, 12, 18 months, the chatter about digital nomads, if you look at the trends, you'll see that that term has really started to trend. And a lot of what the offering has been talked about is kind of short-term rental, right? So hotels have kind of trying to figure it out, right? Like, what do we do? How do we cater to these digital nomads in co-working spaces? And they're kind of already pre-built, so repurposing is trickier, right? Where you guys can kind of spin up new properties faster than they can move. Then you've got the short-term rentals, but then the short-term rentals, if you're talking about experience, yes, you're living in the local village or city. Yes, you can have your own kitchen and that sort of stuff, but you're missing out on that community and that collaboration and that particular part of the puzzle.
Exactly. And the human connection. You're still sometimes quite removed. And I love Airbnbs and I love staying in Airbnbs, especially when I'm traveling, because you do get to feel as though you are a local and feel as though you're living in this city. But you end up still somewhat removed from that community. They don't engage you with the community. They just place you there. And I think that is something that digital nomads are definitely striving for. It's just if they're there for a month or there for 6 months or even a couple of days, they want that connection. They want to feel immersed in the experiences and in that.
Yeah. Tell me about, because obviously you said that you do programming. I'd really love to unpack the co-working side of the business a little bit and really sort of understand where you guys see it. So we saw co-working spaces absolutely boom. We saw some companies go bust on the back of it as well, and lose a lot of money because they grow. I don't even know all the reasons, but my understanding is they grew too quick, or their offering wasn't quite there, and then
I assume we're talking about WeWork here, but maybe not.
Yeah, we are talking about WeWork. I don't know the exact bits behind it, but there was that kind of co-working thing. So what I'm really interested in is, for me personally, for iBooked.Online in our business, we don't have to be in any particular location because we're a digital service, right? I don't have to go and see clients. I can pretty much provide 99% of the service remotely through cameras, through everything like that. So a good co-working space is important. And it's interesting as well is that even if you've got startups and you've got people that are solopreneurs and that sort of thing, they will choose to work in a co-working space rather than working at home or that sort of thing, because they've got that community, they've got that vibe of togetherness, which is very important. Where do you see things? It's going to be a three-pronged question. Where do you see things from co-working where you maybe, as Selina saw it in 2016 or 17 or wherever it was there, and then to where we are now, sort of how's that progressed, and then and where have we ended up?
Yeah. Okay. So to start, first one was from 2016.
Yeah. So where you saw co-working space fitting into the business model there, because it would have been a different beast to what it is today.
Of course. So when I started with Selina actually in 2016, and that's a whole story in itself, we don't need to go into it. I basically sold my car, left my home in LA to become a digital nomad in Panama. I actually took on the role of director of co-work. And my main focus then was engaging this digital nomad community, bringing them into Selina and connecting them with one another. At this time, 2016, co-working was a buzzword. WeWork were doing all sorts of crazy things. They were really redefining the office space kind of mentality to companies and businesses that were choosing not to take their own office space, but to come into these shared spaces. And really, like Adam Newman, who's probably not in the best light publicly right now, did speak a lot of truths about the importance of community, especially for your solo entrepreneurs, people who are grinding day in, day out on their computer, to stop up and look around and see other people who are also grinding and to talk about their businesses opens the doors for opportunities for partnerships or for potential collaboration. It inspires you to look at your business in a different way. So that human connection through the digital world that we live in is still very important. I was at a conference the other day and they were talking about a lot of these older kind of hoteliers and things like that, saying everyone needs to get back into the office, and that's what's going to, shake up or like reinvent this industry we're in. But it's not necessarily true. You don't need to be surrounded by your colleagues to feel that connection. You can surround yourselves with like-minded surfers in a town in Panama while working on your, other business as well. I think I'm going to start rambling here.
Yeah, because I'm going to come back to where we are now, but there's a very interesting article that I read the other day, and I'd love your thoughts. It was about millennials going into the workforce, and a lot of them just absolutely hating the idea of working from home. And I want to get in, and I want to have community and all that kind of thing. And there's kind of a rebellion the other way when they're coming into the workforce. The younger generation going, I don't want to sit in front of my computer screen. I need that hands-on experience. I need to be with the people that I'm working with, and build some and learn and that sort of thing. Do you have any comments on that?
I think it's important, and I think there is nothing that's going to replace face-to-face human interaction, even though there are a lot of tools that are doing so at the moment. I think what millennials want, and people entering the workforce as well, is they want choice. They want the choice to go to the office or to stay at home so that they can, manage their life in a much less rigid, conformative way. Life happens while you're working. It doesn't necessarily have to be mutually exclusive, if you know what I mean. I think there's benefits to both, but I think what needs to happen is still that redefining of office culture should be happening. Whether the teams are getting together less regular or more regularly or less regularly, in a different space each time is also fine. But the monotony of going to the same place day in, day out, being forced to be there from a certain time, being forced to stay there till a certain time, for me in the creative industries, I think that just smashes creative, and it doesn't allow for that kind of fluid and inspired approach to work. A lot of people I know that have run their own businesses hated the work from home, and they think people are off running their errands while they're technically supposed to be at the office and working. But nowadays, I think with all the technology we have to track KPIs, to track your goals, to really track your output and your project-based work, it's all there, and you shouldn't be measured by how many hours you're sitting in an office. You should be measured by your output. And I think I'm kind of digressing in different areas.
Oh, that's my doing. Yeah. That's my doing, because I'm driving it towards that, because they're all very interesting topics. Because one is we're trying to really understand where we're at, and I'm trying to leverage and pull out of your brain where you see the business. Because look, the reality is there's not that many people that are building new hotels, redoing them, and that sort of thing. Yes, it's happening all over the world, but individuals like yourself, there's very few and far between. And these are things you'll be thinking about all the time, right? You'll be in there going, what do they want? How do they do it? So just going back to the co-working space, just to kind of wrap that one out. So we had the 2016 co-working space. We had everything had changed. We had COVID, and now we're kind of looking at the new age thing. So from my perspective, one of the things, the disadvantages of co-working spaces is, yes, I can bring my own laptop. Yes, I need a high-speed internet connection. I think that's kind of, that's what everybody's talking about. That's what digital nomads want. But for me, I actually need a better quality computer so that I can actually get some video editing done. I need a ring light so that I can do recordings. I need some equipment so I don't have to carry that around with me and that sort of thing. Are you, at Selina as a brand, are you guys starting to realize that there are going to be different demands in the co-working space, and is there some active change happening there, or is it pretty much business as usual, or where's it at?
So I think in terms of that with the technology, each year and each day that this kind of movement progresses, more and more trades and more kind of workers in different spaces are coming online. It used to be the freelancer, the consultants, the people who could really just sit there typing emails, take a couple of phone calls. That was the extent of the work that could be done remotely. And there was obviously, if you're a plumber, that's just not going to happen. You're not going to be able to take on this remote work. But more and more, as the technology is improving, as more and more people in these industries are starting to take to this remote work, so too are the services and the amenities provided by co-works. Having a screen that anyone can just kind of plug into with the capabilities and with some of the technology that you suggested. When we notice that there's enough of these people moving around, we start to offer it, and we're always looking at what's the next industry to start really falling into this remote work category.
Do you guys survey your customers to figure out those trends, or are you go to KPMG and going, what do you think, or is there any sort of active understanding of your demographics?
We are actively, every check-in, every kind of guest interaction, we do have surveys that we fill in for a variety of questions. It's probably more broad than looking specifically at co-work. We look a lot at kind of what are their movements like? Where are they coming from? Where are they going? How long do they plan to spend in each destination? And what do they need? There's needs and wants. We like to really make sure we've covered the need basis. High-speed internet is the need. Obviously clean water and things like that. Then what are the wants below that? And that's what we really try to uncover. One of my KPIs, one of my main KPIs is, did the guests make friends? And instead of looking at like how much revenue we earned and how much, what the occupancy rates are, we're looking, did our friends connect with one another? Did they talk to each other? Did we do a good enough job providing the programming, the spaces, the energy to inspire connection? So that for me is a real big need and a want of digital nomads. Is they want connection. They want to connect with other people. So what are we doing rather than facilitating their work? What are we doing to facilitate their work while really enhancing their life holistically? I think I've used the word holistically.
So look, I think this is we've got limits on time for these episodes, and I want to pull out as much as I possibly can. The one I wanted to maybe finish up on those KPIs and guest experience, because that's kind of where we started off the episode, and we were talking about that and about creating experiences. And you nailed a really important point. Is one of my KPIs is, do they make friends? And many businesses are driven by the KPIs that the OTAs set now. So cleanliness, blah. It's all about the 5-star rating, right? That's my KPI. Did I achieve a 5-star rating? But that doesn't necessarily mean that you're building a good business. It just means that you're getting some good results on the star ratings. Apart from like that KPI of people making friends, are there any others that are in the business that we could learn from?
Cleanliness is massive. It's now it's equally rated as did they make friends for us. It's so important and devoid of germs and COVID. It's just being as I said, COVID. It was good timing. Devoid of feeling at home, feeling safe in these spaces. Having a clean environment means that the attention to detail is there, that these people are there looking at every little kind of minute detail, and that's important. Location, there's standard KPIs that Booking.com set are all there for a reason, and they're all the traditional ones that hotels and food and beverage need to adhere to. It's those little ones like, did they make friends, were they connected? I think that separates the good from the great. And then you made a comment there as well, and I'm sorry if I'm a bit of a rambler and I talk about you can have great reviews, but you might not have a good business. That is the struggle, because you want to be investing as much of your resources and your capital into generating the best possible experience, but it needs to line up with the business. It needs to be profitable. They need to be able, especially for a company like Selina that has such rapid growth and fast-paced growth plans, it needs to be a profitable business. And you're not doing your customers any favors by providing them the world, but then can't sustain your business accordingly. So I think it's always finding that balance. But with that said, you don't need to spend a lot of money in order to provide a great experience. You need to be detail-oriented. You need to care.
Dean, I'm going to wrap this one up because I do have probably another hour's worth of questions for you. Particularly around, you guys setting up and building new locations. I know that there's one being launched in Melbourne shortly. Is that right? Two in Melbourne already, and there's one coming, right? Or is it Sydney?
There'll be more in regional Victoria. There's a lot coming. Basically, the growth plans are 30 in the next 4 years, and we've got some. I probably can't talk too much about where the deals are, but we're close to. We'll finish the year with probably 6 to 7 open properties.
On that note, I want to thank you for coming on. And if anyone did want to come and have a Selina experience, what would be the best steps for them?
Selina experience, check out our website, check out our Instagram. We spoke earlier about I'm going to get a unique discount code for all the Accommodation Show listeners to access the Selina properties as they open. If anyone thinks that they want to partner, collaborate, anything like that, LinkedIn would be great. We're open. We're very open to collaboration.
Beautiful. So folks, in the show notes, we will have a bit of a coupon, a discount, some sort of an offer for you to go and experience Selina, which I think you should do. And even if you're, especially if you're an operator and you want to see how people are tackling different problems in different ways, then go and experience it. send Dean an email and say, hey, I've stayed at your place. I love it. I hate it. You guys are doing great things. I want to partner with you or whatever. This community and this space is all about learning from each other and providing exceptional experiences. And I think that that's the motto of this today's episode is really, yes, we've got target markets, we've got digital nomads, we've got all these things, but it's creating lasting memories for people, and that's what's the most important. So look, Dean, thanks a lot. I really do appreciate your time.
Again, thank you,
Yeah,
Mark.
great. And look, for those of you that are listening, please give us a like and a subscribe. It makes a big difference to these shows that we produce, and it means that I can keep getting awesome guests like Dean onto the show, and growing what we do. So thanks a lot. Take care. Have a good day.